Hey everyone, JAG here. Killing an inhibitor turret is an incredibly meaningful moment in a game. They're difficult to assault due to their strength, and the relatively small ramp leading up to them is a great place to trap enemies when trying to mount a comeback. In Week 3 of the LCK Summer Split, Samsung was down 11,000 gold and looking to defend their top lane inhibitor turret from Jin Air. 38 minutes in, Jin Air have secured Baron and are looking to finally make their move to win the game. Jin Air see Ambition's Graves pushing out the mid lane and make the decision to go for a 5 versus 4 dive. Let's get into it. Samsung starts their defense beautifully, and it's heavily due to their zone control. Crown's Victor lays down a gravity field at the start, splitting Jin Air into two distinct groups, damage dealers and tanks. Trace's Maokai and Wing's Rek'Sai take the low path into the base, while Pilot's Lucian, Kuzan's Vladimir, and Che's Karma attempt to take the high route. Unfortunately for them, there's only so much space between the edge of the gravity field and the wall, and Jin Air's damage dealers all try and funnel through the top side. This lines up perfectly for another big zone control spell, Glacial Fissure from Wraith's Braum. Wraith can't really miss, as Jin Air have funneled themselves right up against the wall. His ult stops both Kuzan and Pilot from following up with their tanks. Speaking of the tanks, Trace and Winged are having issues of their own. Crown sees their approach and pops Ghost just soon enough to avoid the knockup from Winged. And while Winged could have flashed to unburrow onto Crown, it would have been a waste, since Jin Air's damage dealers were stuck in a Glacial Fissure. Back at the turret, Kyubey's Echo also adds to the zone control, layering his parallel convergence on top of the gravity field and Glacial Fissure to completely stop Pilot from entering the base. Kyubey also absorbs an exhaust, a twisted advance from retreating Trace, and several hits from Pilot, all to control the entrance to his base and to defend his inhibitor turret. At this point in the fight, the initial dive has failed, and Jin Air should try to cut their losses, yet Kuzan continues to commit. Having used his Sanguine Pool to make it past the turret, Kuzan attempts to burst out Ruler's Ezreal, who, up until this fight, had accounted for 4 of Samsung's 5 kills in the game. Kuzan gets substantial burst off onto Ruler, but he's also put himself in a bad spot. Since he's the only damage dealer to make it to Samsung's backline, Ruler's able to heal and flash away while the rest of Samsung take Kuzan down. While Kuzan was attempting to burst Ruler, Crown was busy making the play of the fight. The moment Kyubey had to retreat after chrono breaking on Echo, Crown runs up to land a massive Chaos Storm onto 3 members of Jin Air, including Pilot, who had caught turret aggro during the fight. The Chaos Storm forces Pilot's heal and takes him below 100 health before Jin Air begin their full retreat. While Jin Air are running away, Kyubey teleports to a ward he placed 2 minutes prior and gets a flank onto the weakened Jin Air members. He flashes to finish off Pilot, then lands a slow onto both Trace and Che, allowing the rest of his team to catch up. From there, it's easy pickings for Samsung, and they clean up the fight 4-0. This teamfight was a great example of how tanks and zone control can be utilized to crush a fight, even when your team's trailing behind by large amounts of gold. Throughout the entire fight, the only player to provide a real threat to Samsung's backline was Kuzan's Vladimir, and he burned his Sanguine Pool just to get in range. Jin Air also failed to manage turret aggro properly. Ideally, Trace with his Guardian Angel would have grabbed turret aggro, allowing for a cleaner dive. Instead, Che and Pilot, the AD carry and support, took the majority of the damage from the turret, highly suboptimal. For Samsung, credit goes to their Gravity Field Glacial Fissure combo, which split and stopped Jin Air's damage dealers. Crown absolutely crushed in the fight thanks to his deft avoidance of Wing and his ability to sneak just into range to land a perfect Chaos Storm on Jin Air's backline. It should also be noted how clutch the ward that Kyubey teleported to at the end of the fight was. Kyubey actually placed that ward right after Jin Air had picked up Baron, and its main purpose was in case Samsung needed to flank in an upcoming fight. Some spectacular foresight. All told, while Samsung did end up losing their inhibitor turret in the fight, they gained a substantial edge from the 4-0 teamfight and used that momentum to come back and win the game and the series against Jin Air 2-0.